Welcome to Sid and Malcolm. And of course, I'm Malcolm and that's Sid. And this is heard exclusively on malcolmpresents.com, a new, I don't know what to call it. It's an internet platform with the
It is.
many various shows you can't hear anyplace else. So anyway, welcome aboard, Sid.
Thank you so much, and it's so nice to be here. We had a very pleasant talk in your honor yesterday with Brigadier General retired Pat Alicia.
Yeah, we have a show with the American Legion.
We do, and Pat and I work Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays together, setting up the Veteran Farmers Market that Rock and Wrap It Up runs, and we're still doing it because we decided that even with COVID somewhat abating in some places, the need to keep our veterans out of stores is as important now as it's ever been. The less they're exposed to other people, the better off they are. And we are beginning to look at their health in a completely different way. I may have mentioned this, but we're going to be doing a veteran nutrition one-page sheet that veterans can take a look at what recommendations there are, whether they are eating, whether they're vegan or whether they're not vegan. We have consulted with the USDA. We have a couple of friends that are in vegan groups. And we've come up with a one-pager, 2 sides, that we're going to be giving across the country. And the reason for this is really simple for me as a scientist. The better health you're in, the stronger your immune system will be.
Okay.
And you will have less of a chance of being infected by anything. And our goal is to keep people living longer, but also healthier.
Yeah, isn't it true? Even if you are infected, your body can fight it off much better.
Absolutely. So I thought this out a couple of months ago, and I've been researching this. And right now, I have a finished draft in front of our graphic designer that is taking almost a 4-pager and making it into a 1-pager with 2 sides. And our goal really is to make this available. It'll be on our website, but we will make it available across the country for people that are dealing with veteran groups that are senior citizens, people that might be sadly, in immunocompromised positions, those that may be undergoing any kind of treatment, need to have as strong immune system as possible. So this is something that Rock and Wrap It Up believes in, and the Veteran Farmers Market, since for the last 2.5 years, I've been watching what our people take. And that has allowed me to craft this where they don't have to have dramatic changes in their diet. What we're asking them to do is to read labels. There are very simple things they could do when reading a label. And I'll go over this when we eventually publish the sheet. But I want to tell you that it's going to be out soon, and it's going to be an important addition to what we're doing. And it's for the same purpose: build the immune system up, keep them out of the chances of getting infected. This past week, I will tell you that I took my 4th shot, and I had reasons to do it, and that is one, I'm going to be traveling next week to see my West Coast family, a daughter in Oregon and 3 around San Francisco, and I felt it was fair to them and fair to Diane and I in our traveling to be as strongly supported with vaccines as possible. Now, I have a lot of friends and family that were told not to take the vaccine yet, but to wait until the summer, because there's always an increase in flu, as well as, since COVID is similar to the flu, in the fall. And if you take the vaccine after June or July, the vaccine should still be very potent, when the flu season and the COVID season will be stronger. I felt that since I have not gotten it yet I've had now 4 vaccines, my body is pretty pumped up with the ability of fighting things off. So Diane and I had the vaccine on Monday of this week, and I had a pain in my right arm, and that was it. When I took the third one, I felt a little more crappy, as they say. And my wife actually had a whole day that she had and felt sick with the third vaccine. But with this one, neither one of us had the kind of reaction that we had with the first one, with the first of the boosters. So
Now, I have a question. How come most of the other vaccines that we take, let's say the flu, is a yearly thing?
hold on 1 second. Chaim, I'm doing a podcast. Can I call you back? Thanks. So
The flu vaccine is once a year, it's probably like about, beginning of fall, they say, take the flu vaccine, but they don't bug you out, take a second one. Why are we taking 2 or 3 of the,
I'll go through the flu first. What you're taking with the flu shot is a prediction by the FDA that they have analyzed going 6 months into the future, what variant they believe will be attacking most of our country. The flu shot that you're taking is for a guess that the FDA has made that flu will be, you'll be protected from the vaccine that they have grown it towards. Now, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. You may have the flu shot and still get a variant, which may not be as virulent as the flu. Now, with what we're doing, for whatever reason, with the vaccines that they're making for COVID, the half-life of those vaccines is much less than a flu vaccine. You are not being protected for as long a period of time with the COVID vaccines that they have now made by Moderna and by Pfizer, by J&J. They are not as strong as the flu. And therefore, your ability of having your antibodies within your body last for longer than 8 to 10 months is suspect. So they want to protect you. So they're giving you multiple boosters so that your antibodies will continue to be high and be able to fight off whatever exposure you're going to have.
but how about your natural antibodies from your immune system?
Very interesting. There are people out there, and I think I'm one of them, that have natural immunity to COVID. And I believe my wife also. I've been exposed to COVID, I would think, dozens of times in the last 2.5 years. I am out every day doing food recovery. I am meeting hundreds of people a week. I know I've been exposed, and yet I have not caught COVID. Neither has Diane. And I believe that we have natural immunity to COVID. And I believe there are millions of people out there that have natural immunity. But why take a chance?
Are they doing any research about what the natural immunity that you have, let's say, that's different from people that have that don't have what you have in your blood? Can they take a blood sample from you, or people who have not caught COVID that could tell them what natural immunity you have that keeps you from getting COVID?
They can, but they won't. They won't.
But can they, as a scientist?
Yes, they can, but they want as many people to have the vaccines as possible. So they don't want to put doubts in people's heads to say, wow, I have natural immunity, I'm not going to take the vaccine. If you remember, they tried Dr. Fauci tried to get the country at 90%. He was only able to get the country to 65% vaccinated. So you have a lot of people out there that you should still be able to market to, but it's not happening. Because if you haven't taken it yet,
You know,
in 2 years, you're not taking it.
but I mean, is there something in your blood that they could take out and then give other people that injection that would make them?
I would think so,
Yeah.
but again, you want to have as great a protection base as possible, and they believe that what they have created is a vaccine that will be for the masses. Just because I am, in my opinion, I have antibodies, doesn't necessarily mean that these antibodies, number one, will protect me from anything else. I may have a genetic propensity to fight off COVID, but I've gotten the flu, years ago, and that's why I take flu shots.
Yeah.
I had a very bad case of the flu. I don't want to repeat that. So I want to take a flu shot. I have not had COVID, but again, being prudent and being someone who is out there, if it's available to me, why wouldn't I take the vaccine? And I know so many people that have not taken the vaccine because they believe they have natural immunity because they haven't caught it yet.
They haven't caught it.
Now, I have to tell you what our country did not do. Two things that pissed me off. First, they never established what a viral load should be in your body. So if you are sick, I would like to know what my viral load was that got me sick. Parts per million of virus. They haven't done that. And it is out there. A viral load is something that I would like to know what my viral load is. I would like to know an antibody load. What is natural antibody that is protecting me? That's what you had just asked. And they can measure all this, except it's expensive. The other thing which the government has not done, and I think I may have brought this up, the government has made available 400 million COVID test kits. Yet, not one of those test kits on its literature, on its box, on its packaging, has a phone number for you to call the government in and say, I tested positive. So they've sent out all of these kits, and yet what you really would like to know is what's the real number of people that are infected? Don't tell me, a number that came up 3% out of 100. If you test positive, you should have been able to call in or text in to the government to say, I took my COVID test, I'm positive. There was no recognition of having that as an important number. So why send out the kits?
There still isn't.
Why send out the kits if you as the government that's sending us the kits are saying, whether you have it or not, we don't really care. We just want you to know that you have it. Well, that is back asswards thinking.
Yeah.
Because if you sending out 200, let's say 200 million kits were taken, which they were, you already have zip codes that you sent them to. You already have a barcode. You know what that serial number is. They don't even have to tell you where they live. You know where you sent the kit to. And if that person, I'd say 90% of the people that you sent that kit to are going to use the kit where they live. I want to know what percent positive from those kits. Why didn't the government do this? I have no idea. And it is a dilemma for me because you really had an opportunity of tracking the virus in real time. You got the kit. Most people, I would say, use their kits within a month after they receive them. You have in real time how the virus was presenting itself nationally.
Yeah, well, Well, politically speaking, the only the thing that I have against what you're suggesting is that people would say, well, if I take the test and they government knows that I'm positive, what are they going to do to me? It's like Big Brother is watching you. Okay, you're positive for COVID. You can't do so and so,
Well,
and
that
they want to be controlled.
that was never spoken about when you were taking the test. What you were told was that if you are positive, stay home for 5 to 10 days.
Right.
That's all you were told. And do you think people did that? Do you think that the people that were positive did not infect others? It's not rhetorical. They probably thought that they would not affect others. Now, how long are people infectious? On the first strain, they were infectious for the first 3-4 days. With the second strain, the Delta strain, they were infectious before they developed symptoms.
Yeah.
So they were the perfect storm in getting people sick. And all this, for whatever reason, is not discussed now. I had an interesting thing this week. I ran my American Legion meeting on Sunday, and I ran it at a local restaurant that was not open till later, and they let us have a meeting there. And a friend of mine called me up 8 in the morning, knowing the meeting was at 9:30. He said, "Sid, I have a head cold. I don't want to really come out." I said, "Thank you for telling us, and that's great. Feel better." He calls me today, Wednesday, and said, "You're not going to believe this. I tested positive for COVID on Tuesday, and I have no symptoms other than I had a head cold for 1 day, and he tested positive yesterday. And he was with me and Pat last Tuesday and Thursday doing farmers market, helping us load boxes. And we were within anywhere from 3 feet to 10 feet for about an hour with him. And he didn't feel sick at all last week. He called me this week and he basically said to me, "You know what? I know you're going away. I'm going to stay away from you for another 2-3 days." Why? Because he doesn't know how long his infection can infect others with this new Omicron strain.
Are you going to get yourself tested before you go away?
I'm not. And if I feel sick, I would stay away from my family. But if I have no symptoms, and all of my family, by the way, is vaccinated, I have no problem seeing them. And those that are not vaccinated, I really don't care about, Malcolm. I hate being blunt, but if you are not vaccinated and you're going out in the public, then you in your brain have registered some amount of risk that you're willing to take. And that's fine. That's your decision. But right now, I have to fly 6 hours across the country. I am forced to wear a mask for those 6 hours. I'm not happy about that. Last weekend, my grandsons were in town. We went to the Museum of Natural History. We had to wear masks the entire time in the museum, except for one place, the cafeteria. We gave them lunch and we sat down and we took off our masks to eat. But then I looked around, there was no one with masks on in the cafeteria. So here you were, and I don't know whether it was done subconsciously that they took them off, but if they were eating and they got up to go to the bathroom or to drop food off, they didn't put their mask on. They didn't put their masks on until they left the cafeteria. That's what we noticed. So what does that tell you? That people are confused. People are confused how to act in large crowds. Now, I did a presentation 2 weeks ago at Yankee Stadium. And it was about the coming season. You know, we do food recovery with the Yankees. They've been our partner now 17 years. We get to Yankee Stadium. We have to wear masks to go in a stadium that had no people in it.
And that's outdoors.
We were in people's offices, though.
Oh, okay.
You know, and the offices that we were in, where there's normally 25 people in this huge corridor, there was 3. And 3 people sitting at their desks, 25 feet apart from each other, were wearing masks. And I just, you know, and Diane and I, you know, kidded about it, but there was no rhyme or reason to what is being followed. In the stadium, outdoors, nobody wears masks.
I have a question. When you take your COVID test and you turn positive, how do they know what variant you have?
They don't. They're just assuming that the common variant now is Omicron, that's your variant. But, you know, there are now, you know, I was talking to one of my neighbors who just came back from Florida. And it seems that here in the Northeast, people are getting head colds. In Florida, they are still getting chest colds. So there is already variants to the Omicron that are affecting different body parts.
Yeah, they sort of like the BA or BE, and then there was another one that came up the other day.
And there may be more variants in California that you don't even know about. You know, one of the things that my friend Alan Schoenfeld 2 years ago this month came out of the hospital. He was in 3 weeks with the original COVID, and he got pneumonia. He couldn't cough. The time he was 72 or 73, and comes home and is weak for about a month. Everything is fine. In September, he develops what's called COVID ankle. His ankle swelled up, and the doctor said that is a long-term remnant for the COVID that he had. His wife had no symptoms of COVID, tested positive, didn't have to go to the hospital. 6 months later, her hair starts falling out. She has COVID hair, which, and these are all documented, you know, hundreds of men and women have COVID hair, and she literally had to get it treated in a very invasive way. They had to take her blood, spin it down, take the serum and inject it into the areas on her scalp where the hair fell out, and the hair grew back.
That I haven't heard. Maybe.
Oh my God. And we've heard it here a dozen times. Now, maybe it did not affect people in California. I believe that there was a different variant that was on the East Coast than it was on the West Coast, where we had people coming from Europe that infected the East Coast, where you had people coming from Asia that affected the West Coast.
Well, I almost have a feeling that anything that's wrong with me, I go to the doctor. He said it's normal, it's age. No matter what I have, it's age related.
I don't believe that.
I have the macular degeneration, it's age related. I have spinal stenosis, it's age related. Everything is that, you know, I have arthritis, it's age related. It sounds like that's almost what the variants are.
That they're saying this is showing you that they don't know enough about it. And I think it's going to take years of study to show. I mean, they're already talking about long COVID.
Yeah.
And long COVID is right now mainly from the original COVID strain that hit 2 years ago. People still have shortness of breath. A lot of them are developing cardiac myopathy, heart muscle problems. As I said, COVID ankle. And all this is from the original strain that they had. What's going to be long COVID from the Omicron strain? we're not there yet because it's only been 8 or 9 months since Omicron mutated.
It's a sound like the new boogie word would be, in the old days, it was chronic. So now
Right.
everything that it's an ongoing thing. It's not chronic, it's over, it's
It's long COVID.
long COVID. They found
And,
a buzzword.
so, I mean, how does this affect Rock and Wrap It Up? Well, I'll tell you what's happened to us this season so far. We are getting less food in our sports arenas. And the reason why we're getting less food is that they are making you wait to get a hamburger, where they used to have a dozen hamburgers waiting to sell. And I'm not going to say the stadium, but it's a local stadium that everybody knows. At that stadium, you go up and you put an order in, and 2 minutes later, your order is ready. Now, what used to happen, you would walk up there, you would immediately get your burger and your fries, and you'd leave, and the order is done in 30 seconds. What's happened is there's hardly any leftovers at the end of a night. And if you have, let's say, 30 kiosks that are selling these items across the stadiums, every kiosk used to have anywhere from 5 to 15 prepared items that weren't sold. We would recover those items. So we would get between 30 to maybe 150 pounds of food from an entire stadium, which is a lot of food, by the way. It's enough to feed between 50 and 200 people. The reality is, we're not going to get that.
You ain't doing that.
And the stadiums are realizing they're spending less money. Less is being thrown out. Less is being donated. Their profit margins have gone up. So is there any incentive for them to change? There is none.
Well, the food that they give you that's prepared that otherwise would have been tossed, is that a write-off for them, tax write-off?
Not really. They do it because it's good PR for them.
No, I know they do. That's not the reason.
You
they
know
do
what?
it, but I don't see
I
why
don't
it
know.
would be
I don't
taxed.
know anyone that takes it as a write-off.
Mhm.
Can they? I think they could. Would it be embarrassing if they were caught writing off garbage? Yes, it would be. They would rather give it away for a lot of the other reasons. It's environmentally sound. It's ethically correct to do. Because of sustainability issues, we want to give them sustainability numbers. All that makes them look good.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's it looks like another half hour almost gone already.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, we have 28 minutes. I wanted to ask you, I know,
Yeah.
getting back to Commander Pat, he
Yeah.
seems to be having difficulty getting, it's a full-time job getting people to interview. But
Very
what,
true.
what I had mentioned to him is, and I don't know, you might be able to help him with this, just to get an average everyday vet who served time. Because everybody's, to me, being a non-serviceman, all veterans and all people who served, especially in wartime, are heroes. Doesn't matter what they did, just that they were there.
Right.
So what I had asked him possibly is to get just someone from the American Legion who spent time in the Army to talk about it, to talk about how he felt while he went. Not that he had to do anything heroic.
Right.
So I don't know whether, because he hasn't, well, he had different things, because I don't think a show's been on the last 2 weeks.
Right.
So I don't know. And I know as a producer, the hardest thing to do is to get people to do shows,
Absolutely.
especially if they're not getting paid.
Well, our payment is that hopefully we're motivating people,
Right.
for him to serve, to join the American Legion, and for us to help feed the world.
Right. I mean, from what I know about the American Legion, it's a great and worthy organization
Absolutely.
and does fantastic things for people. And I I don't think some veterans really know about it. I don't see why not.
The reality is that I know I myself did not join till I was in my 50s because life was there. We had kids, we had colleges, we had things, chores in the house. Uh, it wasn't until my kids really started being on their own that I felt the need to give back this way through the American Legion. And I still feel that way. I still feel that.
Well, I mean, you do so much volunteer work. It's, you know, if people did the same thing you did, the world would be a much better place.
Well, thank you so
I
much.
mean, that's. Do I take it we're not going to be doing shows for another 2 weeks if you're going to be away?
Yes. Yeah, it'd be too difficult for us. We're going to be with the grandkids, and that's why we're there.
Yeah, but as I say, all you need is a laptop, Wi-Fi service, and a half hour a week, and you could do the show wherever you are. That's a wonderful thing about this. You don't need a camera. You don't need all the lights. All you need is a laptop, and you know, the day the show's on. Hi, Malcolm. I'm in San Francisco, or I'm in Oakland.
Malcolm,
I know.
thank you. But
Anyway.
we will return.
You have a fantastic time, as you know, the
Thank
show's
you.
up.
Aziz Pesach to you and your family
you.
and all those you love. And 1-800-187-7691-FOOD, 1-877-691-FOOD if you want to get to us. We need volunteers all over the country.
And you're listening to Sid and Malcolm on malcolmpresents.com. And you have all our back shows. All you have to go is malcolmpresents.com, and we're under Sid and Malcolm. And you can get all the shows and find out what the hell Sid has been doing and what he's looking to do. Anyway, again, Aziz and Pesach, and to all our friends, a happy Easter also, if you're out there.
Thank you. Absolutely. To you and your family.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.